Wednesday, and it is time for our live, and we are going to be talking about what in the world is going on when you feel like you are doing all the things and you're not seeing results. Nothing seems to be happening because I can tell you, probably at some point, everyone in this room or watching this live has been there. And it's just a part of life where we will go through periods of time where maybe things aren't happening as quickly as we would like them to be, or the way that we would like them to be. And we question things. Now, obviously, I'm just going to be on here for a little bit. I'm going to give you a few points to take a look at, because this could be any one of multiple different things. And it's going to be up to you to self-reflect and to discover what is at play for you. Because I cannot do that for you. Okay. So let's really just dive in. And then, of course, at the end, I'll give you some details on how you can connect with me. I've opened up my calendar for some more snapshot calls, so I will share all of that with you then. So, I have questions when you come into the Facebook group. I ask questions to see if there's anything that resonates with you that you feel like you're currently dealing with. And something that I often see is you're doing all the things, and you're not seeing the results. This can be a lot of different things. The first place that I'm going to start is with identity, because it actually encompasses everything. But I'm going to talk about identity from the subconscious perspective. And then we're going to be talking about the things that the identity highlights, where you might want to round things out for yourself in terms of possibly knowledge base, mentorship, your own self-work. And I mentioned this in one of the previous lives that I've done here in the group, that in doing these identity snapshot calls with people and taking a look at the goal and kind of connecting with where people believe their identity needs to be, there is this separation. Most people who follow me are on some sort of spiritual path, whether they call it spirituality or not. They're on this personal growth journey. For me, spirituality, the definition of that is the journey inward. It's the journey inward of self-exploration and what it means for us to be connected to ourselves, to the world, to people around us. That true meaning of life, that true fulfillment. So that's the definition of spirituality for me. Whatever tools, techniques, any or none that you bring into that, that is an individual choice. But because so many people are on the personal development path, and we realize the importance and the essence of being, what I see people do time and again is they form their identity around being, and their identity around being is being the spiritual person, or being the person who is on this personal growth journey, being the person who lives in ease, being the person who wants to be at peace. All of those things are important. But here is the catch. I see people leaving out the identity of the entrepreneur. They're leaving out the identity of being a business leader. We have to be both. If you're going to be a successful business owner, and if you are going to thrive in business, that identity has to be blended, because then otherwise you're choosing either or. And the way the brain is wired to survive or thrive, we tend to avoid pain. So if stepping into entrepreneurship is stepping into leading your business or growing it to that next level, if that is something that is uncomfortable, which identity do you think, if you're attempting to hold two separate identities at once, which identity do you think you're going to default to? The one that avoids pain, the one that avoids the discomfort, the one that avoids those temporary sprints in our business. So if you're an online business owner, even if you're not, even if you have products, everything has an initiation phase, a production phase where we're putting something together, a launch phase. There are moments in our business where we have to sprint. There are moments where we have to double down and to get things to happen. So if that is something uncomfortable, or you have such a deep rooted commitment to things being easy, then you're going to miss out in business, because ease in business is not the same thing as easy. And I'm not going to call business hard, because words are important. Hard is a 4-letter word. And even just thinking something is hard puts our survival part of our brain on alert. We don't want to dive into that. We don't want to do something that's hard. That's human nature. So it creates resistance. It ends activating past stories, beliefs, situations. It ends up activating those things and say, oh, this is going to be hard. And while you may not be consciously thinking about it, your brain is thinking about all the other things in your life that has been hard. And it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go there. So first, eliminate hard from your vocabulary. It's a challenge. It's something that you get to learn, to elevate past, to move through. I don't like the word push through. You get to move through it. Yes, I do still use the word push through sometimes, but we get to move through it. We get to allow, we get to surrender. But also sometimes, so that's the first key point. We can be attempting to hold two separate identities. We can create an identity where that identity is peace. It is ease, but at the same time, it's committed to the business. At the same time, that identity is consistency. At the same time, there is a belief that says, I believe that I can grow this business and do it in a way that supports my life and my health, mentally, emotionally, right? So if you look at identity work, those of you who've done the Aligned Identity Workshop, you've been through this with me. I learned about Gregory Bateson's logical level of the mind in a coaching program I was in. And it was originally designed, you can Google it, Bateson's logical level. And it's a top-down approach to solving a problem. But what I learned in this particular program is you can take the same model and from the bottom up, create your success mindset. And you can do it simplified and you can do it streamlined. So if you're holding this space where you have this cohesive identity between your identity of personal growth or your identity of spirituality, and I'm going to use spirituality, but I think by now all of you know I use those two interchangeably. But if you take your spiritual identity, that identity of being, and you mesh it with your business identity, with your entrepreneur identity, that's how you get success. We can't separate the two. So there's your identity characteristics: peace, gratitude, consistency, whatever it may be, right? You're a clear communicator. You decide what those characteristics are of your being. I feel that peace or joy or love, some aspect of that, especially when you're coming from an abundance mindset and energetically attracting people into your life that support you, love, peace, gratitude, or joy, they've got to be in that identity, right? So then we have the belief level. We have to have the beliefs that we can do both and, not either or, right? So we can do both and. We can do the things that need to be done in our business, and we can be that spiritual person at the same time. Again, if we're in duality of those identities, our mind is automatically going to go the path of least resistance. So you might feel, or you might think, or you might believe that you're doing the things in your business that's moving the needle forward. However, you might not be doing them as consistently, or showing up exactly the way that you need to show up, because your brain is always defaulting to this other identity. So we have to have these beliefs. We have to have the beliefs, maybe that the belief that you're responsible with the team, maybe a belief that money comes to you easily, maybe a belief that when you operate out of a vibration of love and compassion and you show up in your actions in your business that way, the clients are naturally attracted to you. It's both and. We can't, energy attracts people. However, if in that same token, we're not sharing with people how they can work with us, that attraction never converts into someone that you're helping on a higher level, whatever your business looks like. Now, if you are looking at, let's say you're sitting at low multi six figures and you want to break seven figures, or multi seven, this is the identity shift that I've had to make. I've had to shift this mindset and build in these beliefs as I'm growing and scaling the business. There are different identity shifts we go through at different levels of business, but I have to look at the end result that I'm wanting to create. So, yeah, the internet hung up there just a second. So it might glitch just a little bit. It is, I don't know, it's around 1 o'clock and that happens. But I have to look at someone who has $1 million business. How are they operating in that business? They're not doing it all themselves. When things come across their desk, they're not micromanaging everything. They have people that do that for them. They approach decisions differently. They're looking at things very long term and not in the immediate short term. And maybe they have skills like leadership. Okay, wow, that means I need to know how to be a leader. Do I have that knowledge? No. So what's an action I can take? I could work with a mentor. I could hire a coach to teach me leadership skills. I could take a course if that's what floats your boat, read a book. So it's more than just the identity and the beliefs, but what are the actions that these people are taking? And that will help us identify gaps in what we need. I am always reflecting in my business to see what needs to be done better. What is not hitting the mark? Because to be honest, when you're in business, there are going to be times when you try things and it just falls flat. It just does. It's the nature of business. It happens in every business. There is a coach that I follow, and it's amazing because I watch people, and this is human nature. We see people who are successful and we put them up on a pedestal, and we think that they have it all going right. And this person who has had $1 million months, she just shared the other day, she goes, there have been plenty of times when I have put together an offer. It felt wonderful. It felt energetic. I've put it out there and nobody bought. I've had episodes where nobody bought. I've had things that sold out. I have had a program that I did a full month-long launch. I had one person show up, and actually one person who bought, not one person who showed up, one person who bought. What did I do? For those 10 weeks, I showed up for that one person like I would have. I did a room full of people. That comes from integrity. That comes from being committed to showing up. I often see people, they have one person who signs up for something, and I witness the conversations, and they're like, oh, should I just cancel the program? No. I mean, for some people, maybe cost benefit. I actually had a coach who told me once, if you don't have a minimum of 4 people sign up, then you cancel it, you refund because of the time and money. However, when you're new to doing something, there is a learning process. That knowledge is invaluable and it helps you to do it better the next time. So when you're looking at your identity, it's um, it's important to be able to use that to objectively identify knowledge gaps, because when we're doing all the things, so I worded the question, you're doing all the things, and I use the word doing on purpose because we want to be careful that we're not falling into the state of doing, that we're not falling into the state of going through the motions to create our reality, to create our business, to create our life. It is about that feeling and that vibration. And when we look at vibration, joy, love, gratitude, those are a much higher vibration than fear, anger, sadness, right? Shame being the lowest. We don't have to be perfect, but if we're spending the majority of our time in those higher vibrational states, then we're good. It's really going to outweigh the lower vibrational states, but we don't want to get stuck in those places. So when things aren't happening, we get to look at our identity. Do we have dual identities? Let me just make a note. I have something I'm going to come back and say about that too. What are our beliefs? So if you look at your beliefs and you think about, these are the beliefs I need to have to be successful. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm not sure I really believe that. That's a sign there's subconscious work to do there. There might be an old limiting belief that is getting in your way of showing up the way that you need to show up, or of making the decisions that you need to make to move your business forward. And no one knows your situation like you do. So on a live like this is not a problem that I can solve for you, but to give you these points of self-reflection. And if you have any questions, drop them into the chat. Yep, going through growing pains right now, identity-wise. Yeah, it's entrepreneurship is a gateway to personal growth, unless you're someone who is so head down and overcommitting and overwhelmed and working out of this sense of, oh my God, I have to. I mean, because we've all seen these heard of people who completely burn themselves out to achieve that success, and they're not addressing their own mental and emotional health along the way. They're doers. They're doers. They're not in that state of being. And those are the examples of people that make you think, oh my God, I would never want to be in business. So this group is about us finding that balance. And when we're looking at that identity and those beliefs and those actions and the habits, that is actually the pathway for us to cultivate that successful version of us. Now, I was talking about duality in identities. There's also something called the alter ego. So for some people, when they're going to get on stage or when they're going to speak to a group of people, they step into the alter ego. I think it's Beyonce that has the alter ego of Sasha Fierce that she's talked about. Some of us have an alter ego, and we only put that alter ego on when we're doing something like filming a video, going live, teaching, speaking on stage. That alter ego is a model for that confidence in that moment it's not necessarily the same as identity. Identity is what you carry every day. Identity is who you are. It's not this role that you step into to be charismatic on stage or to carry a room. But in my opinion, carrying a room has as much to do with energy as it does anything else. But everyone could see that differently. So we could still have an alter ego, but at our core, our identity is who we're being. Our identity, again, can highlight where, okay, I have this level of knowledge in what I'm doing. If I want to get to the 7-figure level, I need to learn how to become a leader. Or I need to be more involved in my financial metrics and understand how those financial, what needs to happen to carry me to that place. So when we think that we're doing all the things, if you're looking to become a 6-figure business owner, so say you're at the entry level and you want those $10,000 months, you want to break $100,000, what is it going to take to get you there? It's a very different identity than to get to 7 figures. It's not right or wrong. It just takes a different identity. And ask yourself, the people who are hitting 6 figures or low multi 6 figures, what are the things that they're doing every day in their business to create that success? Who are they being? And then stepping into that. The same thing goes if you're going for personal fitness, physical fitness, health, anything else. What is happening in that place? And then are you being the person who is committed to doing that from a place of being and not from a place of doing? So if you'd like a 15-minute snapshot call, I'm going to drop the link in the comments right now. Otherwise, if you have a question, pop a question in the chat. I will be happy to answer it. There you go. So the link for that is in the comments now. And let's explore together. You can put your comments under this video. You can ask me more questions about identity. The next workshop that I do, I'm not sure when that's going to happen. It's probably going to be a few months out before I do another 4-day workshop, but it will not be about identity. So if you're interested in accessing the past identity workshop, comment identity, and I will send you to the videos for the identity workshop that I did back in April. And you can go back and watch those videos and see where there may be gaps or there may be beliefs that are not supporting you in your growth to this place. So the link for the snapshot call is below. If you want the links to the identity workshop I did back in April, the videos are hidden over on YouTube. I will message you the links. All you have to do is comment identity. All right. Have a lovely week. It's Wednesday. It's half over. Get ready for the weekend.